Hello, everyone. Today we have an amazing Mr. Albert Clark, the amazing and supernova hypersonic person in the whole United States Army, one and only, the treasure, national hero we have, Sir, one and only United States retired Lieutenant Colonel Sir Albert Clark. Yes, sir. What we are discussing and cooking today for our audience.
Well, I'm going to tell you my viewpoint on where the internet came from.
Oh, that's amazing. Please share.
Yeah. My first job after pilot training was not flying an airplane. It was to be a detachment commander at an army depot.
Okay.
So I was the Air Force commander on that and that American Army depot. And
Okay.
so as a second lieutenant, I had my own staff car. I had a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
I had military and civilians working for me, and I'm only a second lieutenant.
Okay.
And I worked there for a year and a half. My supervisor never saw the office I worked in
Okay.
because my supervisor was at an Air Force base miles and miles away. So uh,
Okay.
I would go up and see him once every 2 or 3 months, and that's about it.
Please share the year with our audience. Which year we are
That's
discussing?
yeah, 1968.
1968. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So part of the whole purpose of my detachment, well, two purposes. One was to solve the bomb shortage for the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
They kept buying bombs, and then they kept running out of bombs. They couldn't figure out where all the bombs were going.
Oh.
So so I go to this Army depot, which is storing. You wouldn't believe how much they store. We're talking miles of storage.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
if you're familiar with an underground igloo where they have a big mound of earth that's covering a concrete building, uh,
Oh, I see.
partially covered, and then you have munitions inside that
Mm-hmm.
bunker.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 900 bunkers full of stuff
Oh my
and
God.
40 ware
How many
and 40
feet
ware.
from the ground? How many feet down from the ground? Please share with our audience.
Oh, I don't even know how many. We're talking tens of millions of rounds of ammunition.
Okay.
We're talking trainloads full. We're not talking a truck full. We're talking loads full.
Oh my God.
So sometimes we're talking 40 to 80 train cars, full cargo, the big box cars,
Oh my God.
full of bombs,
Oh my God.
anywhere from 500 pound to 2,000 pound bombs.
Uh,
So anyway, uh,
mhm.
uh, part of my job was the Air Force manager for different kinds of munitions if they had a requirement to ship something, they would put in a computer card into the computer in the at the Air Force base, and it would kick out in their warehouse that says, "Here it is, go ship it to this location."
Oh.
Well, the Air Force didn't have much storage compared to the Army. Yeah, where they may have 20 or 30 igloos full of stuff. Well, I had 900 igloos full of
Oh
stuff.
my
Yeah,
God. 900
yeah,
igloos.
you
Consider
got,
that fact.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to look at it from the air to even be able to envision how big that place was. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so their computer would kick out and say, "Oh, that's the Army depot." So
Okay.
they would call me up on the phone or call my people up on the phone, and
Mm-hmm.
they would read off the hole punches on a key punch card that used
Okay.
to have 80 columns,
Mm-hmm.
and they would read off the hole punches on the card.
Okay.
And my people would copy that down on a sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'd have to. And of course, we're talking. They'd spend an hour talking on the phone, just you know, uh, column one is A, column two is so forth. They'd
Okay.
spend a couple hours on the phone
Yeah.
for multiple shipments,
Uh-huh.
and then they'd have to take them out to the army, who
Mm-hmm.
would key punch the cards for us, and then we
Okay.
would check the key punches against our manual pencil copy uh, form that we'd filled out while we were on the phone
Mm-hmm.
to make sure they were key punched correctly. And then
Okay.
we'd take those key punch cards out to the army, who would put them in their computer, and then their computer would send them out to the warehouse area to actually prepare the shipment.
Uh-huh.
just like the Air Force was doing if it was located on an Air Force base.
Okay.
And I said, wait a minute, why don't we have the Air Force computer send that information directly to the Army computer that's
Exactly.
actually that's actually using the same format of
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
The software is the same. It's just the computers are separated.
Oh,
So
okay.
so they hired the University of Utah to build the software for the Air Force to talk to Air Force computer to talk directly to the Army computer,
Mhm.
which eliminated my job.
Okay.
And uh, anyway, it worked real well, and uh, we didn't have to copy that stuff down with a pencil anymore, and they didn't have to key punch the cards there because the the computer at the Army depot would take
Hmm.
action as if they were sitting right there at the Air Force base where the guy
Oh,
who
okay.
managed them was. So
Okay.
that eliminated that problem completely. Okay, so that was 1968.
Right.
In 1969, I was in Southeast Asia,
Oh,
and at the time I was uh, at a Thailand Air Force base,
okay.
and but our headquarters was in Saigon, Vietnam,
Okay.
and I was still in munitions now.
Mhm.
So every day we would have to inventory everything we had on our Air Force base, and then we would have to make a phone call, and that phone call was called an ear flap report.
Oh, air flapper at that time.
Yeah,
1969.
like it's an ear flap because
Okay.
it would we'd inventory all morning, and then it would take 3 or 4 of my people to copy that information into an alphanumeric code,
Hmm.
where we weren't reading out numbers. We'd read out a J or K or something to mean something else. So we'd
Okay.
have to, and it was different code every day.
Okay.
And we would phone headquarters in Saigon, and
Okay.
they would have to copy down this code.
Hmm.
And then once they got it all copied down, which took 2 or 3 hours,
Hmm.
then they had to transfer it back into English.
Okay.
And, and then they would take their handwritten stuff that they got from us by translating the code that we'd said on the phone over the ear flap report.
Hmm.
They would then use grease pencils to put that up on the board to show, oh, we've got 400 of this kind of bomb.
Oh, I got it.
So what I did was
Hmm.
I got special permission to do something strange
Hmm.
in that it was routine for messages to be fed into a computer with key punch cards, and it would feed out wherever you sent it as clear copy where they just print it out and there's your message written out in English.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, so I took the inventory and
Hmm.
I key punched it all, the entire
Okay.
inventory.
Okay.
So the only time we'd only have to change a card if the inventory changed.
Okay.
So if we went from 200 bombs to 500 bombs because we got a shipment in,
Hmm.
we'd still say 500-pound bombs. So that was the same every day,
Oh,
but
okay.
the number of those bombs would change. So I
Hmm.
sent that through the computer as if it was a classified message.
Hmm.
And when they got it at the other end, they printed it out on a high-speed printer, and they
Hmm.
just hung the computer sheets on the wall instead of having to use a grease pencil.
Okay.
And that became the standard for the entire war theater in Vietnam, where
Oh,
every base, rather than spending, had 50 people doing nothing but coding and uncoding stuff like that, and then
okay.
writing it on grease pencil on the wall in
Okay.
headquarters. And
Great.
instead, they just computer sheets and hung them up there with some scotch tape every day.
Okay.
So that was my first email,
So
basically.
audience, you can see that how Mr. Albert Clark communicated and generated first ever email in 1969 all the way from Vietnam to Tekil because he is the in charge there for the missile system, and he was communicated all the way from Vietnam to United States how the message has been incorporated without the internet. So the first ever email on the internet was basically by any internet foreign soldier. He's the person who just introduced to the world of Vietnam and the other soldiers in the world of army. He was the brain behind that message, which established first ever military intranet connection all over the globe. So here we have the innovation scientist, Mr. Albert Clark. Yes, sir. Please continue.
and and then I received some new munitions that nobody knew about
Okay.
that were brand new and classified
Mhm.
in my depot. They were shipped by a ship and they arrived at my place by a foreign truck.
Okay.
And I looked at it and said, "Wait a minute, I know what these are, but these aren't in the inventory."
Okay.
So I had to do some research to figure out what they were out really called by. And then I sent another email to headquarters, except rather than an inventory,
Okay.
this was a special thing describing what these things were.
Oh.
And I actually wanted to send it out as an ordinary message, but only the base commander could sign out a high priority message on something like that was
Mhm.
classified.
Mhm.
So I used since I was already sending the classified inventory over the computer,
Okay.
I I key punched up a just plain English message to explain what I had received in my inventory by
Please
truck.
share our audience your Oracle journey with Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison Oracle
Oh,
journey.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Larry Ellison. Yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
was a few years late. That was a few years later.
Okay.
I had a colonel that later became a two-star general. But anyway, I knew him as a colonel back. I knew him as a lieutenant colonel, and they got
Okay.
promoted to colonel.
Okay.
And he came to me as a friend that knew computers, and said, "I need some method where I can track all of the research and development programs in the U.S. Air Force."
Oh.
So I went looking for a database system that could actually pull information from all of the research programs in the Air Force
Hmm.
to be able to produce this report. Well, there
Yeah.
wasn't anything available, but the
Yes.
best out there was something called RBase, which is a database.
Okay.
And Larry Ellison was the was the CEO of that company.
Okay.
So we he gave me I told him what I needed,
Hmm.
and then he built the software. And we paid almost we basically got it for free. Uh,
Oh.
we made a deal where we paid him $12,000 a year,
Okay.
and he ended up with 50 or 60 programmers working on the software.
Okay.
And every 2 weeks, he'd send me another version of the software just to test.
Oh
So
my
every two
God.
weeks, I had new software, and I tested it out and said, "Well, this works, that doesn't work, and gee, I'd like you to add this too."
Oh. Okay.
So 2 weeks later, we'd get another computer tape, which
Hmm.
these are the great big huge tapes,
Oh.
huge to put on a computer
Right.
with the new software.
Which year? Please share the year as well.
That would be 1970.
1970. Okay.
Whoop, nope. Let's make it a little later. Let's say 77.
1977. Okay. Iran-Iraq War. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so um, I worked with him for 2 years developing Oracle Corporation. You've heard of Oracle. You've heard of Oracle, right?
Yes.
You see Formula One cars racing on television, and some of them will say Oracle on the tail end of the car. And then, of
Yes.
course, he for a while he was competing in the America Cup
Mhm.
for sailing for 20-meter sailing ships,
Oh my God.
racing ships, and the sail said Oracle. Well,
Oh,
that was his company. Uh,
okay.
so anyway, I could have technically I could have invested in it, but I because I was not the contracting officer that wrote the contract. I told the contracting officer what I wanted. Larry Ellison went along with it. signed this contract for only $12,000 a year
Okay.
to, to to give me a new version of software every 2 weeks for for the most advanced database in the world.
Okay.
And I would test it out. He'd make changes to it that I wanted made, or fix things that I found wrong.
Mhm.
And so I worked with him for 2 years that way.
Okay.
And in the meantime, he became a multi-billionaire. And then
Okay.
I discovered my younger brother worked for a private company, and they
Okay.
were paying $500,000 a year to use one module of the software.
Oh my, which
And
you
I got
have
a hold,
created, which you brainstormed.
yeah. Well, again, I can't do the work. I come up with the idea, and
Uh-huh.
then somebody else does the work.
And he's making the money out of your ideas.
Right. Of course, he makes the money because, there's nothing to prevent him from making money on his invention.
Exactly.
He's the one doing the work. I'm just, I'm the idea guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him we discussed what databases ought to do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this was using the internet because it would pull data off the internet from all over the United States.
Oh.
So if a manager out in California wanted to spend so many millions or billions of dollars on something, it went into the database, which was picked up at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to produce a report for this colonel that asked me to do something for him.
Okay.
And then he left for a couple of years and he came back as a one-star. Well, we were old buddies by that point in time, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So he left again and came back a couple of years later as a two-star general.
Oh my God. So he left the army and coming as a two-star journal. That's incredible.
Well, he just left that base, and when he came back,
Oh.
he was promoted again.
Okay.
So then, uh, the last time I moved as actually working for the military directly, not a contractor,
Mm-hmm.
um, I moved to Oklahoma, and 2 months after I moved uh, to
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
General Spires moved here as the commander of Tinker Air Force Base that
Okay.
has roughly 35,000 employees.
Okay.
So when he came in, I sent him an email and said, "Hi, Joe. How do you like Oklahoma? How do you like Oklahoma?" And he emailed me back and said, "Well, how's Carolyn doing? How are the kids doing? Is your son still swimming? Is your daughter still doing ballet?"
Yeah.
and, and oh, that created a storm.
Uh,
Everybody wanted to know what I told the general and what he emailed back.
okay. Everybody is dying to hear from you.
Yeah, it's none of your business. So
Yeah.
uh, he asked me to come by his office one time, and boy, he would have thought I was a terrorist trying to get into his office
Okay.
because they wouldn't even let me get close.
Oh.
So we talked on the phone. He said, "Well, just bring your wife and come by the house."
And then let's talk.
And then another funny thing was I was in the officers club going to an evening meeting, and I was walking down the hall. I saw General Spires in a small room in the officers club,
Hmm.
all dressed up in their fancy mess dressed uniforms,
Hmm.
uh, full dress,
Hmm.
not just regular uniforms, but
Yeah.
full dress with all their medals and so forth.
Okay.
And Joe saw me coming down the hallway, and he left. And there's four other officers. The